One very important factor which leads to type 2 diabetes is obesity.
What are some things that people need to look out for?
The FDA trials back in 22, 60% of users on GLP-1 sort of GI discomfort, whether it be nausea, bloating.
WHO calls it a disease or a disorder.
Celebrities, Bollywood celebrities, they're kind of, crazy weight loss journeys and transformations. A lot of them are being very outspoken about it as well.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Wellness Blueprint, a podcast by the Wellness Co, where we discuss everything wellness. We make it science-backed and very, very real. Today, the topic of discussion is Mounjaro. It's a breakthrough drug that has gained a lot of notoriety in the media very recently and has been used by a lot of people the world over now, pretty much. So we all know a little bit about Mounjaro, but today we'll also discuss why it's important to supplement it with certain things, because the concept of using Mounjaro itself can be a little unsustainable. So we have Dr. Nivedita here today with us, who is a functional medicine expert at the Wellness Co, and we have Rishabh as well, who you all know. So Dr. Nivedita, I would like to start with you. What is Mounjaro?
So Mounjaro is a drug which was initially only launched to address diabetes, type 2 diabetes. But, one very important factor which leads to type 2 diabetes is obesity. And even if it were not to lead to diabetes, obesity is a problem in itself. And so much so that WHO calls it a disease or a disorder. So if one has to think about longevity and general wellness, one has to look about effective tools to address obesity. And childhood obesity is real also. And 1 in 3 individuals in India is obese now. So something as effective as Mounjaro, when we look at its potential to control blood glucose levels and also to affect weight loss, we can include it in a longevity and wellness protocol now.
Right. And I think that's a big reason why we here at the Wellness Co have launched the Mounjaro Management Protocol as well. Mounjaro being one of the GLP-1 receptor agonist medications that's been approved for use to combat overweightness and type 2 diabetes in India at various dosage levels to kind of help different populations manage their weight and to sustainably reduce also in very healthy ways. So when we speak about, as Rohan mentioned, the different kind of, let's say, lifestyle interventions that are required to go along with something like a Mounjaro, what would you say are, let's say, the safe practices on, let's say, kind of superficial level or maybe on a basic level, that what are some things that people need to look out for? What are some things that they need to be kind of, cognizant of? And how would they kind of start this journey?
Right. And see, for diabetes, it was a different story. And earlier, Mounjaro was frowned upon to be used for weight management. But now we know that it's one of the safer pharmaceuticals that can be used. But nothing is like a wonder drug or a magic wand unless it is coupled with lifestyle modifications and the right nutrition, exercise, basically the foundational stuff that you do for health and longevity. Right. And without them in place, even Mounjaro is not going to work wonders which are going to be sustainable in the long term. So you definitely need to couple them with overall healthy lifestyle practices like nutrition, exercise daily, and also we have access to therapies that can boost your overall health goals. For example, HPOT and IV therapies, because Mounjaro will also lead to suppression of your hunger. And when that happens, you could be compromised on vital nutrients. So you should look at supportive therapies to make the maximum out of Mounjaro, and also for your health, overall health, to be not compromised in the long run.
Right. I think it's very clear, and something that we want to, of course, educate our viewers and people and clients who come to the Wellness Co as well, is that this is something that really requires a level of expertise and guidance, and something that, should be treated with a lot of care. And that's what we are also attempting to build as a framework, as something very new that's being introduced to India for the first time. Of course, people have looked at Hollywood celebrities, Bollywood celebrities, their kind of, crazy weight loss journeys and transformations. A lot of them are being very outspoken about it as well. Serena Williams, for example, recently came out and spoke about her journey with GLP-1 weight loss medications. And that's been another kind of big boost recently to the conversation. So this is, of course, something that requires a level of insight and expertise, and hopefully we're kind of building that right framework and ecosystem so people get the care that they actually need when they start this journey. Right.
Right. I think you touched a little bit upon the fact that taking Mounjaro is basically suppressing the appetite. So I wanted to talk a little bit about hunger versus nutrition. So let's say I'm on a GLP-1 drug such as Mounjaro itself, right? And my appetite is being suppressed. So what is it that I could do to replenish the nutrients that I'm sort of missing out on? Because obviously, with my nutrition being suppressed while on Mounjaro, it will create gaps in my nutrition component.
Yeah, that's a good question because people who are motivated or are even looking at Mounjaro as a weight loss strategy, they should be asked to imagine a situation where they have lost a certain amount of weight, but they end up feeling low on energy. They end up, looking much aged by the end of losing weight because they've lost protein and muscle mass. So that is not something they have signed up on, and they should be aware of how to mitigate these effects if they were not to follow the ideal way to use Mounjaro. For example, Mounjaro will suppress appetite, and when that happens, you'll be happy knowing that my cravings are gone, but you'll end up feeling drained on energy and looking lackluster very soon. And these nutritional deficits can actually amount to you being compromised on your overall health. And these all can come back, with a vengeance. So you should look at and consider the possibility of big nutritional deficiencies if you're not very careful right at the start. You should get your diagnostics right as to where you stand with your nutrition levels and try and supplement as you go along with a very good wholesome diet and also supplements wherever applicable.
Right.
Wonderful.
So, of course, we've seen the kind of, statistics on the weight loss that people are experiencing with Mounjaro and other drugs like it, like Ozempic, for example. And that's been talked about a lot, where people are really kind of praising it for being a kind of 15 to 20% plus reduction in the overall, let's say, body mass and weight component that people are having. But obviously, there are things to look out for, like we're discussing right now, where if it's not paired with the right lifestyle interventions, not paired with the right nutritional program, then the risk of relapse is also there. Then the risk of plateauing is also there. So one thing which people are usually quite concerned about is the protein component in their diet, right? Because, of course, with the suppression of appetite, as we've been discussing, this is a big concern because you don't want to lose your lean muscle mass. You want to reduce the fat component, right? You want to reduce that extra weight that you're carrying around. So how do we kind of go about making sure that someone gets that right guidance as well?
Yeah, so your muscle is the organ of longevity. So the way a muscle burns energy amounts to you feeling well and healthier and living longer. So if you lose muscle, which is a big possibility, when you have lost your appetite and you're not very focused on making up for it with the right diet, then that's a problem. What you can do is sign up. When you sign up for Mounjaro, look at signing up to a nutritional program to also lower your inflammatory levels, also to sleep better or stress management for that matter. And supplements, possibly IV therapies also can come in very handy when you look at bridging those nutritional gaps and deficits.
Right. I think what we've looked at is combining something like our fat burner IV drips or the Wonder Juice IV drips to supplement that micronutrient profile. Yeah. That's another thing that could become lacking very quickly with the appetite suppression that we've discussed, because you might not be eating as much and getting all those diverse food groups also, right? And of course, we also have studies that show that up to 90% of individuals are deficient in vitamin D and magnesium if they are suffering from obesity or diabetes or some of these other conditions that kind of have wreaked havoc on their weight management and weight control, right? So when we know that these are key for your energy and glucose control, we know that combining Mounjaro or a protocol that starts on Mounjaro with great diagnostic care and great nutritional programming is essential, because you have to kind of, take care of every aspect of your well-being so that you can get the results that you want, and it's sustainable and it's long-term.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, Dr. Nivedita, there's also a report that came out after the FDA trials back in 22 saying that 60% of users on GLP-1 drugs such as Mounjaro face some sort of GI discomfort, whether it be nausea, bloating, constipation, or something else. What would you suggest that these people should do develop this sort of discomfort within the first few months of being on Mounjaro?
So let me start a little earlier than somebody stepping onto Mounjaro. They should look into their GI health status. They should look into how healthy their microbiome is or their digestion is. If somebody, for example, has gastric reflux, they should not even look at it. And let's say somebody is in a fair GI health and they start on Mounjaro, they can develop side effects related to acidity or a change in the gut microbiome. Now, to mitigate these side effects, one can look at a detox regimen, which comprises of a cellular detox and a gut detox at the same time. One can look at far infrared sauna as an effective means, which is easy to do, as compared to the other options. Also, they can look at supporting their health with pre-probiotics and also amino blends to support their gut health, like glutamine can be a part of the IV drips.
Right. I think it's super important that, this education and this expertise goes out to people very early on in these processes where we're just now getting introduced to these medications, and, research is going to continue to take place and it's going to continue to happen, and the right protocols are going to continue to get built around it. So focusing on the things that we've spoken about right now with regards to GI health, with regards to preserving muscle mass, increasing the strength quotient also when you start on a journey like this, so that you don't end up being frail or weak for any reason. Because like it was said, muscle is the organ of longevity, and the idea is to care for your body while it goes through this change, while it goes through this transformation, right? So another thing that we really kind of want to emphasize for people is the long-term sustainability of something like a Mounjaro. So a question that I'd like to pose to you is, what happens when you stop Mounjaro?
Okay, so we have achieved our goal, let's say with Mounjaro, and you've lost weight that you were looking to for so long. I would want to tell you that if you do not want to relapse and gain weight again and not lose on your health benefits that come with weight loss, you should definitely amp up on your lifestyle hygiene. For example, good nutrition, focusing on your macros and micros at the same time, special focus on protein, and building muscle with a customized exercise plan. Stress management at the same time, taking care of your inflammation, and just go on and on. This is never one and done. It's a lifelong project. Your health is your lifelong project. And every gain that you have is incremental. So you want to look at building it up every day, every month, every year after you have achieved the weight loss with Mounjaro.
Right. And we would also definitely want to kind of, coach people and counsel people towards having, let's say, increasing the intensity of, let's say, their workouts or their physical activity, because as that hunger kind of comes back, as their appetite kind of, returns back to a normal level, we want them to eat the right things, eat healthy, and yes, eat a little bit more, of course, and, be more, let's say, on a normal diet, having the kind of right meals a day, everything, but combining that with the right level of physical activity to ensure the kind of, calorie deficit or calorie maintenance remains the same level. And I think something like EMS training would be a kind of big help for people during that time, where they can, personalize and individualize their sessions and increase those intensities and kind of, keep the benefits that, like you mentioned, that they've gained and they've worked so hard to gain. And of course, maintain those kind of lifestyle interventions, very important. I think another thing that we touched on was that the diagnostic testing part as well, that this is something that needs to be done on a regular basis, even after you taper off or you stop something like a Mounjaro, right?
True, very, very important.
Yes. So what can someone expect in terms of, let's say, the approach that we have here at the Wellness Co? When we look at calling it something like an integrated protocol, what does that mean? What all do we kind of offer?
Yeah, the foundational blocks of your health. Weight loss is very important in achieving those foundational blocks that build your health. But Mounjaro is a potential tool, and we would like to support you with your diet or nutrition, taking care of diagnostics, where you stand currently or even before you start Mounjaro. And then we would like to support you nutritionally throughout your journey. Also, using therapies like far infrared sauna and red light therapy and hyperbaric oxygen to boost proliferation and also to reduce inflammation that can build up. through your journey. It is very imperative to include the right kind of exercises to maintain muscle mass, and that can be customized. And if, let's say, you're overweight, where it makes you a little ill-suited to do the traditional or conventional exercises, and EMS training can come in very handy during your weight loss journey, where certain movements are restricted or limited. It can come in very handy. And also, from time to time, we will tweak these programs depending on how you're responding to a particular regimen in the first month vis-a-vis in the fourth month or fifth month. We will go as we see progress, and we will be dynamic in our partnership.
So, Dr. Nivedita, I think our viewers will be very curious about this. Who would be, in your opinion, the right client or the right person to get on Mounjaro?
Okay, yeah, that's very important. And I say somebody who's just overweight should not jump to Mounjaro unless they are ready to make the commitment to healthier lifestyle, like nutrition and exercises, in the long term and continuing even after Mounjaro. So from day one, you have to be committed to achieving overall health by no shortcuts, but adopting these lifestyle changes. Now, but medically speaking, somebody who's overweight to an extent where that obesity is affecting their overall health, and they are just standing at the cusp of developing some lifestyle disorder or cardiovascular disease, or they are genetically predisposed to diabetes or conditions which make it very difficult to lose weight. So those people are valid ideal candidates. And with every good thing, one must be very mindful of not abusing it just because it looks easy on the face of it. It should be very closely monitored with experts, by the experts who can help you get the maximum out of it, and also increment your health in the journey and not end up with side effects.
Yes, I think safety is a big factor to consider here.
Yes.
Is that we want to encourage everyone to be very safe, that just because something is available out there doesn't mean that it is, let's say, the right fit for you. Now, there are a lot of people who might be curious about it with even, let's say, type 1 diabetes or different sorts of health conditions previous to kind of starting a Mounjaro management protocol, would want to, of course, screen for any sort of contraindications, etc., and make sure that there are no, let's say, side effects that are going to interfere with existing medications that somebody's taking, or programs that they might already be on, or go against a recommendation from a doctor, right? So again, like we said, very safely to be done and to be closely monitored in order to get the most out of it and to get the actual positive results and be managed in the right way as well.
Very well said. And because Mounjaro, after all, is a pharmaceutical agent, it's not a supplement or a magic drug, right? It has nuances to it. And that's why close supervision is mandatory.
Yes. I think another aspect of this, which is important, is safe administration as well. That because it is something that needs a kind of, a weekly supplementation, which needs to be done in a clinical environment, it's very important that things be handled hygienically and very safely and with the best experts who are there to, let's say, care for you and make sure that everything goes right 100% of the time. That's another factor that we think people should really be looking into. And like you said, one thing that we've been discussing as we've looked at launching the Mounjaro Management Protocol, and we want all of our viewers to know as well, is that, we want to create a safe ecosystem and a safe framework for you to do this. And of course, have the right commitment from all sides to make sure that you have all the support you need in order to get to where you want to go with your health journey in a very realistic and sustainable manner. It's not going to be like an overnight process. It takes time. And so it's something that has to be built again with the right commitment.
Couldn't agree more. Yes.
So thank you so much to our viewers for tuning in. As we look to launch the Mounjaro Management Protocol here at the Wellness Co, we look forward to receiving your interest and seeing you very soon, and possibly having a consultation with Dr. Nivedita here, who will help you out on your journey to sustainable weight management. Thank you so much.